Okay. All right. Greetings and welcome. I am so excited to be here with you this morning because we have, um, gosh, I'm so honored, honestly, because Mama C, Charlotte, well, let me just give the entire name and then we'll go jump to Mama C in a minute. Charlotte Hill O'Neill is with us. And of course, you know, Lisa Hicks Gilbert of the Descendants, the executive director and founder of the Descendants of the Elaine Massacre of 1919. And we have, again, going back to Mama C, is the descendant of the founder and president of the Progressive Farmers, Black farmers in Elaine, Arkansas, during the 1919 massacre in some ways before. Um, she is the niece, correct?
The great
The
niece.
great niece.
Yeah,
Of,
he's my great uncle.
yes, great Uncle Robert Hill, and we're gonna look into more of his life and legacy in just a few minutes. And before we get started, I want to, and just before we continue, I want to do a land acknowledgement. Arkansas Peace and Justice Memorial Movement is committed to making sure that we are honoring the first peoples and the First Nations of this land we call Arkansas, AKA Quapaw. And so I want to do that. And this is something that we haven't done, but as an Afro-Indigenous person, I would be remiss not to do that and not to take the time out to also honor our other community, our other family, which is our Indigenous family. So let me do that really fast, and then what we're going to do, and not fast and then in trying to speed up that process because we want to honor that process, but we're going to do that, and then we're going to go into a biopic of Mama C, aka Mama C. We're going to talk about Robert Hill, his legacy, and from her eyes and her view, from where you are, which is you are in Tanzania right now, right, Mama?
Yes, yes.
You're
Up in the mountains in Tanzania.
yes, and
Yeah.
I'm going to say to you before we get started that no, I'm not. I'm not going to start a conversation. I'm going to do what I said I'm going to do because I want to talk to you so much, but I want to go ahead and do this acknowledgement as well. We acknowledge the Caddo, Quapaw, and Osage, as well as the many indigenous caretakers of this land and water. We are conscious of the role that colonization has played by way of genocide, ethnic cleansing, and stolen land. The Arkansas Peace and Justice Memorial Movement commit to supporting indigenous organizations by donating our time and our money. We commit to support indigenous-led grassroots change movements and campaigns and encourage others to do so. We commit to assisting in advocacy in the return of the land, knowing that to be in relationship to and with the land is what is most honored. As an Afro-Indigenous peoples from the land of the Chitimacha of Louisiana and the Nanatoki of the Great Dismal Swamp, we pay respect and honor to the spirit of the indigenous people of this land. Ashe.
Ashe. That was beautiful and so necessary.
Thank you, Mama C. Thank you.
Yes, yeah.
Very necessary that we do that. And so we're going to continue with, oh, I do want to say, because you're in Tanzania right now. So we do plan on making a trip to Tanzania in July. That is something we're planning to do. You know, a young lady, Dr. Alexis Davis, that
Hey,
is already there. That is my great friend and
yeah.
and sister, and she's
Well,
already
Caribo.
yeah.
That means welcome. Yes.
Thank you so much. So when I'm there, I do plan on coming to your village and visiting you. So
Oh,
I do
yes.
want to come because not only are you a priestess and a great woman, a panther, um, all power to the people.
All power.
Yes, all power to the people. You and your
Yeah.
husband. And you are a musician and a singer. You are an artist. So I am so excited to hear some of your work. I've listened to a little bit, just trying to, Facebook stalk because you are my Facebook friend, and to listen to some of your work. But you are a multifaceted human being, and just really honored to be in your presence, and can't wait to hear more and see more and to meet you one day. So thank you so much. And I'm gonna be saying that throughout this, how very grateful I am for the work that you and your family, your family has done in different areas, in different generations in this life. So thank you so much.
Oh,
We
I
are
give
most
thanks to y'all.
Yes, we are most grateful for the work. And Lisa, the founder of the Descendants, Lisa, we have been uh yeah, we've been moving the dirt pretty much, trying to get things going here, and just really just assisting Lisa, because Lisa is boots on the ground, especially now. And we're trying to step it back and let her do, what she's been doing, but adding that scaffolding to help support her in this work. As a daughter of the Delta, from having my father, my great grandfather, and my father be sharecroppers and tenant farmers in Elaine. So I also have that blood connection to Elaine, to Helena, and so I have to be there to help. And because the ancestors won't let me not be there, no matter what's going on, I have to be there to help and assist in some way, whether in body or in spirit or energetically, whatever it is, I have to be there to help and assist. So my sister Lisa has been working and doing her thing. And Lisa, I'm just really grateful to you for all of the work that you're doing. I know what you've had to endure and what you continue, but this is your home, and the ancestors won't let you as well. Um,
They won't.
that's right. So we have to do the work. I'm going to transition over into the biopic, the mini documentary that was created with Mama C. And it's basically the title is The Blood That I Carry. It's really powerful title. Um, Speaking about how the ancestors guide us throughout our existence into the people we are, the places that we go, and the work that we do, and just the power of uh, Robert Hill's legacy, and also Lisa Hicks Gilbert's legacy, moving through you to be where you are and doing what you are doing today, is a testament to that. So I'm going to share this video, and then we're going to talk a little bit more.
It's heard.
and whispered. I had always heard and whispered conversations among my aunts and uncles and my cousins about one of our relatives, the brother of my grandfather, Grandfather Hill, who had escaped from Arkansas and went up to Kansas City because he had been accused of killing a white man. But I never knew his name. My second cousin, Eddie Jones's daughter, Tayana Jones, was doing a Black History class project, and one of the subjects was on the Elaine massacre. She knew in her heart as soon as she saw the picture of Robert Lee Hill that that must have been the uncle who our family had always talked about in those whispered conversations. That uncle who had escaped with my grandfather and went to Kansas City. And when I saw the pictures of my father, Sterling Hill, beside Robert Hill's photo, I knew that he was blood. I knew that the blood that I carry, the blood that screams for freedom, the blood that spreads love, the blood that that is really so similar to what my great uncle talked about when he formed the Progressive Farmers and Household Union of America to try to gain rights for the sharecroppers and the money owed to them over the years. I knew that great uncle Robert Lee Hill had to have been the one who they always talked about. And now I know why the conversations were so whispered. It was because he had formed the Progressive Farmers and Household Union of America, which became the catalyst of the Lane Massacre. And as I walked through our land here in Tanzania, and I recall these conversations, and I recall the fact that I carry his blood. I am so honored. I am so blessed to know this, that I am his great niece. Dare to struggle, dare to win, oh yes. This is what one of our comrades, Emory Douglas, showed the young people who were with him in a workshop here. Unity, peace and love, respect. This is what we teach by example here at UAACC. Use your voice, I can hear great uncle say. You have a voice, speak up. Don't be afraid to use it. And we make sure that we always have reverence for the memories of our ancestors. We make sure that Black love is uppermost in our minds, in our murals, in our hearts. Black love, a new mural by Brother Tim. And then when I think of the 52 years that me and him say, Brother Pete O'Neill, aka Babu, have been together and serve as an example of Black love, serve as an example of unity and a revolutionary way of thinking, I feel covered in blessings. And here, my dad rests right here in Imbasane Village. When my father, Sterling Emmanuel Hill Sr., was in the process of making his transition into the realm of ancestors, I got this vision and I was sharing this vision with him as he was passing on. And this vision was of so many of our matriarchs, of at least 30 of our matriarchs, the mothers who had passed on in the Hill family. And they were singing, they were saying, "We're ready to receive you, Sterling. Come on home. Come on home." And I was sharing this with Dad and telling him, don't be afraid to make that transition. And so after he had passed on, I sat down and did this painting, which is symbolic of the vision that I had, the matriarchs at the water in the realm of the ancestors. And as you can sing, they're all singing, "Welcome, we're waiting for you." So all these matriarchs are saying, "Welcome home, Sterling. We got the gates open for you. Welcome home." Even an Obokano string, those Obokano strings, yeah. There's something about those instruments and that music that brings my ancestors' voices to me. I'm right here. Yeah. Sounds like Nyatiti Blue. That's Nyatiti. And then we come to our ancestor wall. And these are some of Brother Pete's relatives, his mother and father, his grandparents, and his daughter Kathy. And these are some of my ancestors, Sterling E. Hill, Teresa Calzada Garrett, who was my mother, Lee Dove Hill, who was the brother of great uncle Robert Lee Hill, and Esther and Elmer Garrett. And we give visitors and our family opportunities to sign this wall, to sign the ancestors that they want to remember. And today, I will sign my great uncle Robert Lee Hill's name on this ancestor wall. Calling for freedom. Calling out for freedom, y'all. I hear them say, I had always heard.
Wow.
Yes,
I have to
indeed.
snap. I've got to snap
I
this.
know, right?
This is a work of art. This is like poetry. This ain't that this. It's a standing ovation, but it's definitely this right here.
Indeed.
Yes. Oh my gosh. I had chills watching the entire thing because to hear your voice in the backdrop, to hear you singing about it and just chanting and evoking that's what I heard. And it was so beautiful. And it just drew you into and connected you to what you were saying about your ancestors, what you were feeling about ancestor, your great uncle, Robert Hill, Lee Hill, and it just paid so much honor. And I just really am so grateful to you for that because your voice, first of all, bluesy and jazzy and folky and all of the things. Okay.
That's what I was thinking when I hear her talk. You can feel it in her voice, not
Yeah,
just you can feel it. It's awesome. Yes.
blues. I was trying to think what is it, but then I just heard it all. I was like, it's some folk in there. There's the blues in there richly. There's that jazz. Like I said,
Yes.
all of the things just coming up like a wellspring.
Mhm.
And just, I'm almost speechless, but I'm gonna keep talking because this is so. Lisa, can you tell before I come back to you, Mama C, and just
Mhm.
reflecting about what we saw? I also want to talk to Lisa, who Lisa, you've been doing this work for a while, and can you give us some backdrop and some information about the descendants of the Elaine massacre of 1919? And then I'm
Yes.
gonna come back to you, Mama C, about this video, this documentary, because it was just so powerful.
Yes. Well, someone asked me yesterday, I was in an interview, and she asked me why did I decide to do this work? And I, I believe the ancestors decided for me long time ago. And it's almost as though there was no way they were going to let me not do this work.
Mhm.
And I see it's so evident in every move that I make. And I said when I first started created the Descendants of the Elaine Massacre in March of 2020, that I had all these big plans. I'm a planner. I write everything down, goals, and
Mhm.
every single day I would get up, and at the end of the day, that list never got completed. But I accomplished so much, and I finally stopped writing notes. And when I started, stop writing notes and realized I didn't need to follow anything but what the Spirit led me to do and who the Spirit led me to. So
Mhm.
that has been so much in the work I've done around the Descendants of the Elaine Massacre, and also just my love for my community, for my family, for my friends, and Elaine. And after I found out about the Elaine Massacre, I had a moment, almost a year where the anger, upset that my vision
Mhm.
of my hometown was just shattered. And once I got past that and then realized that the work just needed to be done, it's one of those things where you don't decide and you just realize it needed to be done. And, I'm the person that just I feel needed to do it. And even if just for a moment, and I know that the work I do, I'm going to have to make sure it's done in a way that those who come after me, just like I came after my ancestors, that this work continues. So, you
So
know,
you are a descendant of the Elaine two, actually,
too.
Elaine 12. Can you give us some backstory about a Mama C's documentary kind of progressed in the who really, like she said, Baba Robert Hill, I'm gonna call him Baba. Robert Hill uh, forming the um, the Progressive Farmers and Household Union of America, forming that organization was the catalyst, is what she spoke about in this documentary of the Elaine massacre of 1919. Give us just a little bit of your ancestors, and then just the progression for this information will be on the unity page, but we still want to talk about it just a little bit, just some background.
Well, Ed and Frank Hicks, two brothers, they had they were sharecroppers there in Elaine, and they were also members of the Progressive Farmers Household Union of America. Ed Ware, I believe, took over for Ed Hicks originally at the Hoopsburg Church. Well, I said the Hoopsburg Church, but he took over leading the farmers, leading the organization or their branch of it there in Hoopsburg. So Ed Hicks was, leading it prior to Ed Ware. But they had about 100 acres of corn and other crops that they were working in right in Rashout, Arkansas. And that's just maybe 6 miles down from Elaine. And that's also where I grew up, with my grandparents. My grandparents lived right there in Rashout, in the very area where Ed and Frank Hicks had land and worked land. I can't say that was their land, but they worked land there in Rashout.
Yes.
And the two brothers, Frank Hicks, on the night of when the massacre started, Frank Hicks was on the outside of the church, one of the guards outside. Ed Hicks was inside the church. And the stories I've received from the family members I've met with Ed Hicks, they talk a lot about Frank Hicks, and he was a rebel rouser. He was a great shot, and he had a temper. And Ed Hicks was more calm and docile. And unfortunately, once they were jailed in prison and then they were freed, they had to separate. Mm-hmm. And they never had contact with each other. Ed Hicks remained here in Arkansas after he, with his daughter. He moved in with his daughter after he left prison. And Frank Hicks went to Chicago. Well, I say Chicago, but they say Illinois. And there he changed his name. But Ed and Frank Hicks, for safety reasons, they never contacted each other again.
Wow.
Yeah.
That is so similar to what happened to my great uncle Robert Lee Hill, after he escaped with help to Kansas, to Kansas City with his brother.
Yeah.
And, they tried to extradite him. Yeah. And the judges refused, which was very unusual, I think, in those times.
Yeah.
And so when he went to Topeka, he also changed his name for several years. And apparently there was no more contact with his brothers, or if there were, they didn't tell us about it. Right. And you have to understand why they were so secretive about it, because for one thing, they didn't want to get him busted, get him found out. And the other thing is they were trying to protect their family, So we have such a similar history, Sister Lisa. And I kind of think, I know that me going into exile with Brother Pete kind of mirrored that. Because we left, we had to change our names also. We had to go underground with the help of people from all over the world. I don't know if your relative or my uncle had help in this modern day underground railroad from people all over the world, but we know they had help from people in Arkansas and in Kansas. Kansas City, and then on up to Topeka. We carry some powerful blood, Sister Lisa. And that's one of the things that keeps, I think, both of us on the right track, because we know we got to represent. We got to represent, because we know our ancestors are doing like this. You better represent. With all we went through, and your ancestors, Sister Lisa, they were part of the Lane 12, right?
Yes, Lane 12.
Wow. Yeah. And most people don't know about all these massacres that occurred not only during the Red Summer, Isn't
Right.
that what it's called?
Yes.
Yes.
Throughout our history
Yes.
as Africans who were stolen from Africa and brought to America. We've always endured that, and we've
Yes.
always been strong, and we've always had community love, and we've always had rebellion. And
Yes.
that's something that they try to also keep out of the history books. I'm sorry, I just had to jump in
No, no.
and say that.
You
And
flow how you
co-sign
need
to
to
what you
flow.
were saying, Sister
Yes.
Lisa. And,
Hey,
and you
Mama.
know, I mentioned that people might want to say, well, why are you saying that Robert Lee Hill was one of the catalysts of what occurred, that terrible Elaine massacre that occurred? Well, we've already said that he was he started the Progressive Farmers and Household Union of America, and then he did that not only in Elaine but in other counties.
Yeah.
That's what I found in my research,
Yes.
and so when they called that meeting to be held in that church, what was that church's name? Soho or something like that?
Hoopsburg.
Hoopsburg. Okay. Well, somebody told on them. This happens a lot in our histories, And then when one of the whites, or 5 of them, I think, came to that church, and then they were alarmed. They said, "Oh man, this is an insurrection. This is a rebellion. This is a revolution, and all us going to get killed." Now that isn't what it was about. No. That isn't what they were trying to do. But many of them were veterans, include my uncle, include your uncle too, your relative too. They were veterans of World War I. Now they've been in this war. You know, they've gotten a sense of a little freedom being outside America, and then they come back and see that they are still being treated as if they were slaves. You know, so Uncle Robert, seeing all this stuff going on, people getting beat out of what they were supposed to earn, all this kind of stuff, he took it into his mind to start this Progressive Farmers and Household Union of America, and had so many people who were bonded with him and believed in that, you know. So after these whites went and told the rest of the white community what was going on, I mean, it was hundreds of them who came out, you know, hundreds of them who came out and started massacring people and killing
not just from Elaine,
men,
but from
women, and children, and burning down the town the same way they did in so many other cities that suffer from these terrible massacres. And what I read, I don't know if this is correct, Sister Lisa, that there were more than 250 people killed. You know, more. It might, I saw some where it said 500, even more, you know. So when that was going down, they were saying that he was the one, that Uncle Robert was the one who caused that insurrection, and that he was the one who killed, who shot the first bullet and killed that person. And they even said there was a song that he had written about the insurrection, and how being united is what was going to help everybody. So they managed, like I said before, to put him on that Underground Railroad, that modern day Underground Railroad, and got him to Kansas. Yes. So Sister Lisa, I'm so happy. You know, I don't even know how we connected. I've been trying to think. I know it was meant to be. I know my young cousin, Tayana, is the one who first found out about the Elaine massacre. But how did you and I connect?
I can't remember.
Was
And
it
it just,
through the Descendants page when you created it last 2019? Was it through the Descendants
it was
Facebook
on
page?
Facebook. No, it was on Facebook.
Okay.
It was
Okay.
on Facebook.
I
Yeah.
don't know, but I don't know. I'm gonna have to go back and look. I don't know who connect.
Somebody must have through the
ancestors connected us. I looked all through my messenger thing. I couldn't see. I said that was the ancestors. They knew that we had to be connected, and I give thanks for that.
I just so glad. When she told me about it, I was like, let me go look her up because I gotta see. And I was like, whoa, okay.
Then when I saw this picture, I'm like, oh my goodness. I mean,
he looks exactly. I mean,
exactly.
Oh wow, exactly like
blood.
Yes. Hey, some things are meant to be. You know, like you said, the ancestors said you better get on it. They told us you better make this connection. And now, Clarice, you in it too.
I've been in it. Listen, I was
been in it.
I told my cousin was telling me, and I don't know, because I'm still digging into my history. She was talking about nightmen, and she was saying my father's family, the men were nightmen. And I was like, okay, what's a nightman? So I started looking it up. They were black, they were the brothers that were going in and doing what is it when you go in and you pull people out? You go in and you pull them out from in bondage or being enslaved.
Like
in ways that it's called extra. What is it? I can't even think of the term. I see it in movies all the time, but if you go in and you pull people from a situation and then you hide them.
Yeah.
And so she was telling me about it, and I was like, I have to know more information. And my aunt is kind of going through dementia. Everybody else is, passed on. I have an uncle, he's up in age. But my aunt is going through it. And so she really doesn't know. It's in and out, but that's where my cousin got her information. And I thought, I'm gonna have to do more digging into this because I'm wondering, I know the blood of a warrior is in me. I know that for sure. And my folks, my father and all of them they were like Lisa was saying, a good shot and very, they carried, my aunt Betty, she carries a pearl handle 45 in her purse. I mean, that's just what she does. And it's been throughout my life. And I always wondered why that generational paranoia was there, why the generational trauma existed, why there was never a good word spoken about our white community with my father, great grandfather. And then because they never spoke about it, it was too painful. You could see in the way that they did things, because they farmed a lot. We kept a farm. We kept farm. It's always sustainability, because anytime you need to survive something, you always create ways to sustain yourself. So it was always a farm. There was always some entrepreneurship happening. There's always the rifles and the protection. There was always that. And there was also this generational paranoia that was happening. The jumpiness, always being cautious.
And
Um,
I didn't think about that. That's
yeah,
how my grandfather was. I didn't until I learned about the massacre. Then
yes,
it made sense to me why he was like that. You
yes,
know.
yes, the night terrors and things like that. My father was 5. No, my grandfather was 5 when they left. Uh, my grandfather didn't return until he was like 32, around in there when he was his draft card. So they came back. They went to Chicago, then they came back to Elaine.
Mhm.
And I thought, you're thinking, it's just, I don't know how, maybe you feel like you need to rebuild and be with your community. There's a lot of
Mhm.
people who left and they never returned. And I
Mhm.
can understand that. I
Oh
can.
yeah. Oh
Um,
yeah.
but I want to say that I totally agree with the fact that we are we're pushed and we are guided by our ancestors and the legacy.
Mhm.
You okay, Mama C? Gotcha. We'll make sure she's okay. And the
I'm good.
legacy, yes, the legacy that they've uh, of their lives, the unfortunate things that they've had to endure,
Mhm.
um, to make us who we are. We wish that they could exist and be, and our greatness and our legacy could be that of non-struggle and trauma and
Mhm.
passed on generational terror and trauma. But that's not what we have. And
Mhm.
so we make what we need to out of what we have. And that's what we've done.
Yeah.
Lisa, is there anything that you want to add to the
Yeah.
conversation
Yeah.
along the lines of what's going on now? Like, what is the descendants of the Elaine massacre of 1919? What's the goal? We have a Unity Fest happening for the
Mhm.
first time. Thank you
Yeah.
so much for those thoughts and ideas born from not getting legislation. Talk a little
Yeah.
bit about that.
Yeah. That's primarily how the first Elaine Unity Fest was born. And it was out of, this past spring when, Arkansas Peace and Justice Memorial Movement and other um, organizers were trying to get Senate Bill 674, which would have created, make sure I say this right, the Unified Arkansas Commission.
Yes, that's correct.
Unified Arkansas Commission. And some of the things it would have done would have, well, created the Unified Arkansas Commission. It was going to do the work of trying to exonerate the 122 Black sharecroppers that were
Yeah.
falsely accused. And something that was really, really important to me, that was important, but something I was so looking forward to was creating the Elaine Remembrance Week, which would have
Yes.
been the first week of October to commemorate the Elaine Massacre. And also that would have been a countywide events would have been
Countywide.
happening. And there was something, it would have exonerated Robert L. Hill.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Exonerated him as well. And in committee, we got one vote. We didn't get out of committee. And I
Yes.
just could not understand how something that had the word unity in it
Mm-hmm.
so opposed. And I realized that, when I'm looking at, you know, these senators, people on this committee, I realized that this work is not going to get done unless we do it.
Yes.
And unless we show them and show people what the work looks like.
Yes.
That's why those bitter lemons, I tell people I've created the Elaine Unity Fest, because what better place to have a Unity Fest than the location in Arkansas where one of the worst race massacres in the history of our country happened. And there's no other place in Arkansas a Unity Fest is a perfect place for that, to start rebuilding and erasing those racial boundaries that still exist in Elaine today.
Mm-hmm.
And also to build upon, reconciliation. And something so important is unifying in our community and, building. And one of the things I'm hoping that comes out of this is that my community, that people understand that this massacre prevented generational wealth.
Yes.
But another thing it did, it created generational poverty.
Yes.
And has, helped, Phillips County become the poorest county in the state of Arkansas. So once we understand that and start working together and building together, and first telling the truth about it, that's why the truth town hall is so important. And after that, the next 100 years, we start doing the work.
We often and always really try to involve our, lawmakers and our state government and things, and trying to have more of a top-down approach. We tried it. We've always bottom up in our approach, grassroots, trying to get things and movements done. Mama C, I don't have to tell you, you've been in the work for as long as, I don't, you've been in the work. Let's just put it like that. And I don't have to, tell you that bottom up approach that we've always had to in our grassroots movement to have happen. We continue to do it. Mm-hmm. Our state and our local governments a lot of times will not support us building our communities, building our, taking care of our youth and things like that. And so, and things that need to happen, like restorative justice and transformational justice, is not happening from a top-down approach, that we don't see it often. I'll say that. Elaine is the example of that truly happening in a way that if you're going to start anywhere doing it, that's where it needs to be. There is restorative justice and reparation that needs to happen, and it has to happen. And so since we knew, we tried to do so, like you said, Lisa, showing, like we've always had to do, showing you the endurance, showing you what that looks like, that Unity Festival looks like, us all coming together in unity to help build and restore.
Yes.
And so when is the Unity Festival? And also, before we get into the more information about the Unity Festival, Mama C, do you remember a time where, when you all, because we all know about, as far as the food program that the Panthers created, that the actual government sort of took and created its own, because you were the example.
Yeah.
You, like I was saying, you all were the example of how communities should be treated. And you wanted to make sure that you set that example for the community. When you all were doing this work, was there a time that you tried to involve at any point to have a top-down approach, and you kept getting rejected from creating?
In some instances, we tried to give them an opportunity to be a part of this. But like you all have experienced, it's not in the powers that be interest, to see growth in our community, and I was blessed to grow up in Kansas City in the 50s, where we really had a community bond. Everything that we needed came out of our community. We didn't even have to go outside. And, I agree with some people who say that desegregation or integration really harmed us in a lot of ways. Not saying that we shouldn't be free to go where we want, to go to what school we want, but you know what I'm talking about.
Yes.
It started malls. It destroyed the mom and pop stores. It took our teachers who were from our community away and brought in other people. There's so many ramifications of that.
Yeah.
But one of the things that I wanted to point out is that we must continue to go into the schools and let these children know that history and let them know that they carry that blood too, you know, and I think that this is something that can really inspire these young people and give them a sense of pride, you know, and the fact that they could endure and they can not only survive, but thrive, you know. And that is what we have done here in Tanzania. Not just survived, we have thrived, and we have set an example for so many young people, not just here, but from all around the world, which is what you all are doing. And I give thanks for y'all and what y'all are doing. And I bet there's still a lot of elders in your community who know carpentry, who know plumbing, who know electrical work. We need to set up that apprentice system again, so these young people can be entrepreneurs. You know, they don't have to rely on whoever. They can do it themselves with their strong hands that their ancestors passed to them. You know,
Absolutely.
Yes.
Very important.
Thank you so much.
That's very important. That's part of the work I'm dedicated to, committed to doing in the next 100 years, is ensuring that the history of the Elaine Massacre, not the murder, the slaughter of a community, but also, you know, Robert L. Hill and his work of organizing. This was 1919 that they were doing this. And they had the audacity to sue white people, to hire attorneys. They were organizing. And if you look in Ida B. Wells's, you know, in the bylaws, in her book, in the bylaws, where they were even putting $5, everybody was donating $5, and they were getting ready, you know, going to get this money collectively, go buy land. Right below Rashaw, and go buy this land. And
looking for my book.
Yes.
Yes, it's on my bookshelf.
Yes. And you know, those stories of, you know, they had guns, they had been threatened, they did not give up, they were not intimidated. And of course, like Mama C said, they'd come back. This was something my grandmother said that Mr. Moody mentioned about them. And you know, I'm sure remembering Mr. Moody, I could just hear him saying, these army men, they back from they coming back from the war, and they will think they were gonna be slaves. They didn't win, fought a whole war for you in somebody else's land, and you come back and think these men gonna be your slaves again?
Not.
Mama, when she was talking, I'm just missing. Yes, they were.
Yes, say that.
Not because see, you trained, right? They were trained to resist. They were trained, if that wasn't already in them, because I know it was, but to be, you know, to not, it was some training that was going on. And the thing is, they were trained. Not only that, they saw some things. They got to see the world a bit. They saw some freedoms that they never experienced. And like I said, and also the thought of, and a lot of them were promised this, but it was taken from, it was untrue, that you fight this war, you come home, you got all the freedoms that you want. We're going to take care of you. We're going to do this, and you're going to own land and all these things, these thoughts, you know, and that's something that we could just talk about. I mean, historically, if you read things on Frederick Douglass and, you know, about fighting in the wars and the thought of freedom and the thought of land ownership and the thought of owning oneself. And that's what they believed in. That's what they thought. And that's in a lot of cases, that's what they were told. So when they come home and they see nothing has changed, as a matter of fact, it's gotten worse. And if I'm going to be out here doing this, I'm going to demand a fair wage. They were made. Okay, so you make them and then you put them back in the environment, and they've seen the world. you know what I
Yeah.
mean? And you put them back in a hostile environment, well, they're warriors. They're ready to fight. It's
That's right.
hostile,
Yeah.
right?
And they felt they had a right to fight.
Had a right to fight. So if I'm in a hostile environment, the first thing I'm going to do if I'm being militarily trained is to fight back.
Exactly.
And that's what they did. And so you can't fault them from that. We honor them.
Yes.
We honor them for that warriorship and that fight. We give thanks for them. Yes, we give thanks for them. And Lisa, before we go, because we have kept Mama C longer than we said we would.
I've
Did Mama C
enjoyed it immensely.
Yes, we so enjoy you.
final words, Mama C?
Uh,
Yeah.
Do you have
I-
any final words?
Any final words before you do?
Did you want to talk about our? We discussed it. We didn't say we were going to discuss it here, but you and I had just a mini discussion about some ventures we were going to work on.
Is it something you want to?
You talk to me?
Yes, ma'am.
Oh, yes, yes. All of what you all are organizing, I want to be a part of it.
Absolutely.
And you say I can say my last words?
Yes,
So
ma'am.
yeah, we want you to say some
Okay.
final wisdom before we pass it to Lisa to give us more information about the Unity Festival.
Okay, well, I'm a sing it.
Yay!
Yeah.
There we go.
Don't give up. Don't give up, y'all. Don't you give up. Ooh. Life may get rough and things may get tough, but don't you give up. Remember y'all's ancestors. Honor your ancestors. You carry that blood. Don't give up. Peace.
Hey, Ashe. Snap it up for Mama C. Thank you so much. I had to put it on speaker's view so people can see you do your thing. And where can people find your music and find your videos and work so they can enjoy it?
You know, I always tell people I got like 4 or 5 video channels because I forget the password and then have to start another one. But I am on YouTube. Charlotte Hill O'Neill is some of it is Mama C, some of it is whatever. And I'm on SoundCloud at Mama C 2011, and I'm on Facebook. I post on Facebook just about every day or every other day, and I'm gonna get that YouTube situation solidified. And we have a website, uaacc.net.
Before that, okay, so UAACE, can you give us a little information on the school?
Yes, it's United African Alliance Community Center right here in Embasani Village outside of Arusha, Tanzania. And we've been registered since 1991. We have all kinds of classes for youth in our community with a focus on the arts, because I believe in the empowerment of the arts. And Brother Pete, my husband of 52 years, started the Leaders of Tomorrow Children's Home like 12, 13 years ago. And we've been raising those children to be leaders, to be strong, to be positive examples in the world. And we invite study abroad groups. Actually pre-COVID, but we've been doing that for many, many years. We have accommodations here. We have artists in residence programs here. Beautiful. And it's just beautiful because we're in a village, we're in the countryside, and it's just beautiful. Yeah. Right in the foothills of Mount Meru, right inside of Mount Kilimanjaro. Ooh. I welcome all of you all. Yeah, it's paradise. It really is.
And I will be there. That is my plan.
Yes, Karibu. And bring Lisa with you.
Yeah, I'm gonna try. Lisa, if you want to come with us in July, please come on. Because there's but our brother Benito that's his hometown, and he's supposed to be trying to go to Is it Zanzibar having a film festival going on?
Yeah, I think they've already had it in June or
Will they
July,
have it
but they might have another one.
have it again? Okay.
And there's a Sauti Busara, which happens in February.
Is that a music festival?
It's music.
Are you performing?
I've never even been to Sauti Busara because traditionally that's when I start my tour, my Heal Community Tour in February, because
Yes.
Black History Month. But I'm telling all these schools who bring me, I ain't coming no more in the winter.
I
They're
know.
gonna have to bring me in the fall.
Okay.
I'm 70 years old and my bones ain't digging that cold. Yes, but for the film festival, we've had 2 or 3 films screened there. And I have a new film that I'm going to send y'all links to. A couple
Please.
of new films. Yes,
Oh
I
my
definitely
God.
will. Yes, yes.
Please.
So
Thank you so much
I
for
have enjoyed this immensely. I love y'all
yes, we
and
love you
bless
too.
y'all.
Bless
Yes,
you too. We
continue
gonna
to be covered in blessings.
absolutely thank you. I receive them and I also send them to you too as well.
Thank you. I
All of you.
receive.
Lisa, tell
Yeah.
us before we end this call, which we hate to do, is give us the next day of the Unity Festival. We're in it right now, but what's happening for the rest of the week? You're muted, Lisa. There you go.
Sorry, but yes, we're going to start with this, of course, and also on Thursday, the opening, we're going to have the first Elaine Truth Town Hall, and it is the panelists are going to be those of us born and raised in Elaine, those of us most who have been most impacted, and those of us who've had so many questions about the work being done in Elaine and about the Elaine massacre. And then we're also going to speak to what happens next, the next 100 years. And we're going to dedicate most of, the conversation and dialogue to the next 100 years and some plans that we have for Elaine. And, we have some announcements about some things we're deciding to do, and our allies, different people who are partnering with us to do this work. We're going to talk just a little bit about the legislation. So,
yes.
and then on Friday, it is the Elaine Massacre, the fight for restorative justice. That's going to be on Friday, and presented and facilitated by our allies and partners. And on Saturday morning, we are going to have 2 writing workshops, one for adults at 10 o'clock and one for the youth at 11 o'clock. And then immediately after that, we are going to announce the winners of the essay, the Authentic Reconciliation Essay Contest immediately after that. And on Sunday, it is going to be a statewide asking all of the religious institutions, churches, programs that are being held on Sunday to join us. First, all the churches ask they join us in a moment of silence and also speak to the Elaine Massacre and send words of encouragement and empowerment.
Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. And how can people, is there a link that people can join via Zoom?
Yes.
And this is also part in person, and also simulcast.
It's all going to be virtual.
All virtual. Okay.
Everything is all virtual. Okay. And you can go to eventhub.net and just simply put in the Elaine Unity Fest in the search engine, and then the platform will come up. But everything, all the links is just going to be constant on the Facebook page, on Twitter, and on Instagram. I'll be just sending those links out. Y'all gonna get sick of me because I'm gonna send them out 2-3 times a day. Because some people don't see them, but everything are gonna be just rampant. I'm gonna send it to your messenger, email, and all of social media. So, but yeah, on that platform, Mama C, you have a page. On there as a speaker, your page, your bio, your videos, when you go on there, you'll see your website, all of your social media, everything you've given me is up there already. So as soon as people click on there, they see this video, they want to learn more about you or see the video again, they can go on that link and your page will be on there. And the Event Hub platform page. It stays up for 30 days after the event is over. So this will people will be able to go for 30 days and get all of this information.
And we'll put it all on a permanent page.
Then we'll have it all up on the new website.
Yes.
On the new website. Yes.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you. Yes. Lisa, did you want to leave us with anything else other than, how people can join and be a part for the rest of the week? Did you want to leave anything? Mama C just blessed us greatly with her energy and her voice and her presence. So we want you to also say something, and then we will leave you.
You know what? I want to my community, and I always take it back to my Elaine community, because there's so much empowerment that needs to happen there. There's so much work that needs to be done there, and making sure that part of what we're going to be doing in the next 100 years, when people come into the community or they want to partner with us, one of the things going to be really, really important, ensuring that our community learns all of our history and the whole state. And then second, remember that leaders build leaders. And I foresee leaders coming out of my community, whereas before they felt like, this wasn't possible for them. And so that is going to be a big part of making sure, and especially our young people, realize who they come from, where they come from, and the power of their ancestors and what they were trying to do, and making sure that they can, the leadership part of the work that we're going to be doing is going to be so important. So I ask anyone who is coming to work with us to have that first and foremost in your mind when you're working in the Elaine community.
Absolutely. Thank you so very much. We greatly, again, appreciate you. We are grateful for your lives, your ancestors' spirits and lives, and the legacy that they have left for all of us. We're going to go through this week in a spirit of gratefulness and thanksgiving and honoring them, letting them know that we will continue on with the work for as long as our bodies want to remain here. And we're just most grateful. Thank you so much, Mama C. You have blessed me so much today. I look forward to meeting you and getting a hug from you. And Lisa, yes, I need so much. Lisa, I love you too. Thank you so much for all of the work. Thank you for the ancestors. Robert Lee Hill, thank you for the ancestor Ed and Frank Hill. Thank you for the ancestor, and this is my grandfather, Lazarus Kinchin, Lee Kinchin, Lee Andrew Kinchin, my father, Lamar Kinchin, and just the entire legacy of the Kinchin family in the Delta. Ashe. Thank you so much, and we will see you soon. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Take care, y'all. Stay blessed.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.